Okay, welcome back with another episode of Sharp Education. Today, we're going to be taking our logistic regression output, which I'm sure you noticed was not super exciting, and trying to add all of our technical indicators, the moving average, convergence, divergence, the money flow index, Bollinger Bands, the relative strength index, to our study to see if we can get a more exciting confusion matrix, distribution of predictions, and area under the curve, or receiver operating characteristic chart. So let's make a new file. I'm going to make a new file and paste a lot of this in, but I think it's important to make this distinction. So regression logistic all.ipymb. So this is going to have everything. I want to take our same plots. So we're going to be pasting in all the same packages. And we're also going to be pasting in a lot of information. So I'm going to take our global variables from regression anything.ipymb and paste in this. Control C, Control V. Great. So that's all of our global variables for all of our technical indicators. And regression everything has all of our technical indicators. So I'm going to add all of it up to target. Right here. Perfect. And then from our regression logistic, I also want to take our new target, which is just the binary 1 or 0, depending on up or down, and add all of this here. Perfect. Now, with linear regression, we had a validate regression output function, regression anything, and validate regression output had everything in it. Plots for everything. 1, 2, 3. 3 different plots. I think I want to do the 2 different plots in the same function for our logistic regression function as well. So let's do, instead of validate regression output, let's do analyze logistic regression. And I need to have everything included in this function now. And paste everything in here. Control C, Control V. Okay, and we can get rid of this. So that's everything. Plot figure, plot figure. So that'll be our 2 plots within our logistic regression function that comes after our generate regression output. And I'm going to call this generate logistic regression output. And then our main function is going to look a lot like regression anything, except for we're going to change the name of a couple functions. So we're not fixing autocorrelation anymore. We are going to be generating the logistic regression output. And we're going to be analyzing the logistic regression. And instead of this information, we want, what was it, from our regression logistic, y and y pred probability. And we also want to change the arguments here. So I'm going to steal those again from reg logistic to be these. Data frame, y true, and Control Z, C, back here, V. Prob, here, prob, save, and get rid of this. S. So now we're going to be running a logistic regression model on the MACD histogram, the money flow index, Bollinger Bands, and the relative strength index. Hopefully, if they're all working in harmony, we should see some sort of relationship. But if you've been sticking around, you've seen a lot of my episodes so far, you're not quite as excited as a novice might be. I am not particularly excited, and I don't plan on this changing my life. But we'll see. Let's get rid. Actually, I'll leave all the plots for now. MFI, MACD, it's all there. Bollinger Bands, there's our regression output. Relative Strength Index, I forgot to make a new figure, it looks like. Distribution of predictions. I'm extremely interested by this, actually. It does show a lot of a healthier curve or distribution. So it's centered closer to 50. It ranges between 0.46 and 0.56. If you remember our older plots from just using volume and the MACD, it's a much smaller range and it stacks much higher. There's a much more healthy distribution of predictions now, which is exciting. And what did I set my cutoff to be? I accidentally left it at 0.53. I'm going to change that to be 0.5 in both of them here. Save. Save. And now let's see what our confusion matrix looks like and our area under the curve and everything. Okay, a little bit better. But the area under the curve is still 0.52. So no matter what our cutoff threshold is going to be, whether it's 0 or 1, we're always just going to be pretty much in line with just guessing. What if we added volume? What if we just add more variables? Volume. Open. Open. High. Low. And close. MACD, histogram, money flow index, Bollinger Bands, RSI. That's a lot of variables. Does it work? Okay. 0.54. A little bit more information. Let's look at our regression output. It's a nice distribution centered around 0.5. You know, from 0.4 to 0.6, it's pretty good. And then our regression output, does it show any statistically significant variables? Close looks like it's the most statistically significant, meaning it has the biggest impact on our predictions. Really not bad. So what I'm going to do is make a trading strategy based on these predictions. Now, even though we have a wide distribution of predictions that range from 0.4 to 0.6, give or take, I imagine that when we set the cutoff to be 0.6, it looks like we have a bit of a higher true positive rate than when we set the cutoff to be the true positive rate is substantially further away from randomly guessing than the other thresholds. So what we can do is we can set up a trading strategy that only looks for predictions that are around this 0.55 to 0.45 zone, and then take trades based on these predictions and see if that gives us any different results. That could be interesting. Yeah, so the confusion matrix gives a much more balanced distribution of guesses, which is awesome. What we still want to see is this top left square and this bottom right square being darker than the top right square and the bottom left. So slowly but surely we're getting there. And if you guys have any technical indicators or strategies that you want to insert to this program, I encourage you to do this. This is all posted for free, as you already know by now, on the Sharp Research Education website. Just click on the code repository and it is posted right there. So we're getting closer to a logistic regression trading strategy that might actually work, as you can see by our distribution, which is much more favorable to just using the MACD and volume, which we had in the past, and the area under the curve plot that is starting to bounce a little bit further away from just randomly guessing, which is this blue dashed line. I'm going to get rid of the plots before I paste this or I post this to the Sharp Research Education page. for Bollinger Bands and all of that, because we already know what those look like. And that'll be it. This is going to be a shorter episode. I appreciate you guys sticking around. I hope this was a bit of a more informative way of using the information I give you guys. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episodes. So until next time, stay sharp.